Our world is facing one of the greatest crises that it's ever faced. A global population that's projected to exceed 9.6 billion by the year 2050. This rapid population growth is going to bring problems that we have never even conceived before. From energy crises to food production to natural resource conservation and everything in between. This is the charge of the Challenge 2050 project. We are building human capacity in our students so they can take on the complex adaptive challenges that they will face in the future. To do this, we bring industry partners, policymakers, dynamic faculty, and our amazing students together in a very purposive way to really make a difference in our world.
There needs to be a societal shift. It needs to be a perspective change, and that's not going to happen if there's not a catalyst. Challenge 2050 is unprecedented. It is a class made up of individuals from different backgrounds, different majors, different minors, different passions, and we come together to collaborate on how to change the world by 2050.
I think Challenge 2050 doesn't teach you what you need to learn, it teaches you how to learn. So it gives you these issues, and then you are forced to come up with a solution. I think that the only way that we're going to progress is when we get together to collaborate, and so being able to be a part of what the University of Florida is doing has really meant a lot to me.
One World is a project open to the public. It is an opportunity presented to everyone, encouraging people to come up with innovative ideas about how to change our world by 2050. One World was an experience like no other. It was a place where our ideas were validated and people from all over the world came. Business executives and head of HR and policymakers came to hear college students' ideas. And they didn't just come to listen, they came to be active participants in the brainstorming part.
I would highly recommend all people taking the Challenge 2050 course as well as submitting applications to the One World Summit, mainly because what is needed in our world is a diversity of thought. So if we get interdisciplinary involvement inside of this program, I think we're going to create solutions that haven't been seen before.
We have the potential to truly save the world. This is the Challenge 2050 project, and this is our charge.
To the resilient farmers charged with the noble job of feeding the world, we are one. To the single-parent mothers who return to school, who wake up at 2 a.m. to finish their homework before they get their children ready for school, we are one. To the college kids who take out school loans just to send their money back home to help keep the lights on, we are one. To the 6.6 million displaced refugees throughout the world that simply want the opportunity to live, we are one. To the sweet, sweet grandmothers with the softest hands, we are one. To the women engineers that are curing cancer one experiment at a time, we are one. To the spirited first-generation college students navigating through uncharted territory, we are one. To the homeless men and women whose beautiful minds hold the wisdom for all that ails us, if we're just willing to listen, we are one. To the international graduates who return home with new solutions to old problems, we are one. And to the police officers that understand that kids need to be kids, and conversations are way more powerful than bullets. We are one. To the young ones in a new land serving as translators for their parents, we are one. To those incarcerated or previously incarcerated who do not allow their spirit to stay within those four walls, we are one. To the people from small towns with big dreams who dare to turn those dreams into realities, we are one. To the hundreds of Nigerian girls that are still missing, we have not forgotten you, and we are one. To the soup kitchen volunteers warming hearts throughout this cold winter, we are one. And to the young men and women who found their voice when they owned their truth, we are one. You see, we all have a story to tell, a voice that needs to be heard, a verse to contribute to the song called life. Our world is at a critical point where we, as a people, must unite, we must innovate, and most importantly, we must listen. Individually, we are but a single drop of water, but together we are an ocean. And today, we assemble to rise to the challenges of tomorrow. Welcome to One World.
That was awesome. You know, Jaron holds a special place. Well done. Jaron holds a pretty special place in my heart. He was actually my first PhD student to graduate from the University of Florida. And so it's awesome to see all the amazing things he's doing over at the College of Veterinary Medicine, but also that he was able to come up and stand on this stage where he and I did a number of years ago. Welcome to One World 2016, right? Oh my gosh. Friends, today we have an opportunity. It's an opportunity to engage in conversation. It's an opportunity to share your perspectives. But more importantly, it's an opportunity to create a foundation for what you will do in the future to save this world. We're going to have a lot of fun things going on today. And so, my name is Tony Indenauer. I get the privilege of being the director of the Challenge 2050 project, but I also get the privilege of being your MC today. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take you through a variety of different events. Hopefully you got a chance to engage in the reality check, meet with a bunch of different organizations that can hopefully create a foundation for your engagement and how you will take action to save the world. Then obviously we had some people come out, welcome you into One World. We're going to have some great sessions today. We're going to talk a little bit about the Challenge 2050 project, and then you're also going to get to hear some stuff from our corporate sponsors. None of this is possible without the generous support of our corporate sponsors. And first and foremost, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank HM Clothes for their incredibly generous support. So please help me in giving them a warm round of applause for everything they do. It was also really great because last night we got to celebrate the Solution 6. You're going to get to hear 6 amazing students get up here and give innovative talks about what they feel can really help us to change the world, possibly even sustain ourselves past 2050, regardless of how our population grows. That's going to be pretty great. But last night we got together because we wanted to celebrate them and their accomplishment and all the hard work that they've done. And the New York Times was generous enough to put on a reception for us. So let's give the New York Times a little thank you. After we get through some great presentations, we get to have lunch. Hopefully you guys will all get a chance to stay around for lunch because lunch, 1, it's provided, and 2, it'll provide you with a chance to share your perspectives with these facilitators who will chart all of the different perspectives that we share and then hopefully use that to create think tanks that then we can continue the conversation after we leave here today. And so that'll be really exciting. We'll get back to the Solution 6, and then we'll end with the Innovation Station outcomes, and we'll have some big awards. And so you're definitely going to want to be around for that. And so if you're here in the morning, make sure you come back in the afternoon because it's going to be amazing. One of the great things that we have here at this university is administrators who care so deeply about the student experience that we're able to create a foundation for their success. The Challenge 2050 project doesn't happen without amazing people at all levels of the university. And I'm so excited to have one of them here today to hopefully bring you guys up to speed on this amazing experience that's going to be One World. And so without further ado, on behalf of IFAS and CALS, I'm going to introduce Dr. Elaine Turner, everyone, Dean of the CALS.
Thank you so much, Tony. And before I start, because I'm going to be back and forth to a couple of different events, so I need to take a picture so that I can put something on Twitter, because I'm going to have to follow most of the activities on Twitter. So a big, what? We could do Go Gators, but let's do One World. All right? 1, 2, 3. One World. All right. I got you. I got you. It's a pleasure to be here and add my words of welcome and also my words of thanks to our sponsors. Again, we couldn't do events like this, programs like the Challenge 2050 project, without sponsors, and so we really appreciate their engagement. Today, across campus is about innovation and entrepreneurship. I mentioned that I can't stay for the rest of most of the program today because I have competing events. Today on campus we are celebrating the Gator 100, which recognizes the top 100 fastest growing businesses owned or run by Gators. Out of that 100, 12 of those companies are owned or run by CALS alumni. And so isn't that cool? And there may be a future one of those Gator 100 here in the room. So it's about entrepreneurship, it's about innovation, and that's the One World story. What do we need to do? What changes do we need to make? What new ideas need to come forward to sustain our planet, to sustain our well-being, all of those systems that Tony talked about through the coming years as our population grows. And One World, Gator 100, both of those events really embody what we're all about in the College of Agricultural and Life Sciences. We have 5 major priorities, and they're all represented here today. The first one is we recruit and we retain outstanding students. They're here. We have One World volunteers. We have Solution 6 participating. We have students in the audience. We want the best of the best students, and we get them in the College of Agricultural and Life Sciences. We provide relevant curricula. Challenge 2050 is an innovative approach to curricula that looks at the leadership challenges framed by that growing population, but does it in a different manner, and you heard a little bit about that on the video. We promote excellence in teaching. Again, an example here through the Challenge 2050 project and throughout the college of ways that we want to have the best teachers in the classroom. Those best and brightest students deserve the best teachers, and so that's another focal point for us. We want our students to go out the door ready to tackle the challenges that society presents. And so we talk about producing society-ready graduates. And it's through events like this that students develop their innovation and entrepreneur skills, they develop their problem-solving skills, their communication skills, their teamwork skills, leadership skills that are essential for success no matter where that student goes after graduation. And finally, we encourage and promote engagement with our alumni and stakeholders. So I'm spending some time with alumni today. We have stakeholders here in the room. And through that engagement, we enrich the student experience, which cycles back to recruiting and retaining outstanding students. So those are our top 5 priorities as a college. I'm proud to serve in the role as dean and be able to see all of those ideas come to fruition. I want to just say a special word to the Solution 6. You've been through a rigorous process already to get here. I wish you absolutely the best in the competition. I wish I could see the whole thing, but I will be following on Twitter. I'll kind of hide it under my table at lunch, you know, so it's not real obvious that I'm dividing my loyalties today. But I will stay abreast of what's happening today. I appreciate all the volunteers being here for your time, the other faculty that are here in the room that have given your time to this program, and you, the audience, for being here to cheer everybody on. Thanks for being here. Welcome to One World, and go Gators.
Thank you. So to get into the mindset for what we're going to do today pretty much takes some intentionality, right? And these next two people that we're going to bring out are really going to set the tone for that. And so we're going to ask you to engage in something that's maybe a little bit different. But I'm going to let them tell you more about it. I met these two individuals in my class, and they had this passion and enthusiasm that really captivated me. They made me feel like they genuinely wanted to not only learn from the class and interact with me and the other classmates, but that they wanted to do something more. And they wanted to do something more through creating a space. So that's what you guys are in store for. And so, I'm going to bring out Emily and Marcella.
Hello, everyone. Human connection. Ooh, that's loud. The foundation for creating global change. So today we're going to do a little experiment with human connection. And the reason for this is because once we can connect with each other, we can begin to understand each other. And once we understand each other, we have the ability to create a platform in which to have the conversations needed to have in order to elevate this world.
So what we're going to ask you guys to do is to stand up and move to another side of the room. So if you're sitting in the front, go to the back. If you're sitting on the left, go to the right. Don't be shy. This is fun.
And find someone you don't know. Find someone you do not know.
And introduce yourself. You've never met before. Let's shake it up.
And let's try to land on that person in the next minute.
Choose someone randomly.
All right, who doesn't have a partner? You two, right there.
Okay, so
paired up?
Does everyone have a partner? Yes? Okay, so introduce yourselves. Yes, hello. Okay.
All right, everyone. So we're really glad you guys made that connection. Now, in silence, face your partner. We're going to take a second and close your eyes. Today's exciting, right? We're about to listen to 6 really young minds who came up with ideas from scratch, from nothing, that they believe will change the world, will have a huge impact. And today, they're about to present those ideas to you guys for the first time. But before we get into all that, let's focus on you. Really take a moment to be with yourself. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And think of all the stresses and anxieties and fears and all the extremities of life that have happened to you in the past hour, in the past day, in the past month, your whole life, if you want to go that far. And acknowledge them. Sit with them for a second. And let them go. Feel them pass away. Now you're going to open your eyes. And as you open your eyes, put all your attention at the person in front of you. Without speaking, gaze into that person's eyes. You can take a second here to breathe within yourself if you need to. But really connect with each other without speaking. And as you look at this person, as you look into their eyes, think about all those fears and anxieties that you just brought up within yourself. And you may start to recognize some of those fears in them. Because we've all experienced the same things. We all experience the same heartbreak, the same intensity. And take a second and just give that person all of your attention. You're allowed to blink. Now close your eyes. Go back to yourself. And whether you are laughing the whole time with that person or really having a serious, engaging, maybe uncomfortable moment with that person, feel the connection you just made. That you just made with this complete stranger. Now open your eyes. And you can return to your seats.
Okay, so how did that feel for you guys? Was it uncomfortable, maybe? I saw you guys smirking a little bit awkwardly. Did you feel insecure? I know those are emotions that I had the first time that I eye gazed. And I think that's because the way that we're socially conditioned to interact with each other, while it may be practical, I think it's very limiting from allowing us to establish meaningful connections. And I hope that what you guys just gathered from that short experience that you just had is an understanding for a truth that I think affects not only the solutions that you're going to hear today, but is fundamental towards just being a decent human being. And that is that before we label ourselves or identify with any gender, sexuality, religious group, political party, ethnic, racial group, before all that, we are all human beings. And if we understand that, I think we create a space of love and compassion that is at the core of solving global problems and being kind to one another, because it manifests resilience and creativity and hope, which is such a critical part of this conversation that we're having today. In Challenge 2050, we talk about climate change and water depletion and food insecurity and terrorism and hatred and these depressing, complex problems that oftentimes leave me feeling just sad. But that's not effective. That's not productive. I think when we operate from the space that we just created, that's how we create change. The feeling you just had, that connection that I hope you just had, it leads for you to have a compassionate experience not only for the person sitting next to you, but from a person that may be on the other side of the world whom you may never meet, but could benefit so greatly from your creativity and your determination to help them, to make this world better. A very wise and eccentric woman named Amanda Palmer once said that when we really see each other, we want to help each other.
And with that, let's take all that compassion and love for each other, and let's figure out how we're going to change the world. Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, so good. Hopefully, you guys are in a space where you're ready for innovation. I was sneakily looking from backstage, and I noticed a lot of smiles. And so hopefully that uncomfortability actually created a little bit of a foundation for what we're going to do today. which is have some fun and figure out how we can save this world together. One World is something that comes from the Challenge 2050 project. It's our big event every year, and the Challenge 2050 project is really about bringing people together. And so we do that in a variety of different ways. But whenever I think about that, I think about the Walt Whitman poem. Identity, that life exists, and you are here, and that a powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse. What will your verse be? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves. And to get to that question, we probably need to have one before it. We need to ask ourselves, what's our passion? Because when we inform our passion, magic happens. And so, does anyone have a passion? Think for a second, because I'm coming down into the audience because I want to hear about your passions. So anybody who has a passion, just raise your hand. Oh, yeah. Okay, what is your passion, my dear?
I'm passionate about education. I'm making education accessible to everyone.
So accessibility for locations. Yeah, give her a round of applause. Education, accessible for everyone, right? Who else? Who's got a hand? Wants to raise it? Okay. Tell us what you're passionate about.
I'm passionate about food. I think no one should be without food. Food should be accessible to everybody. And everybody should share from their table. Reach out to your neighbor. Reach out to your stranger. And be the one to ask the question, did you eat today? Because you never know who you're passing by as you go by. And you could make a difference in their life.
Thank you for that. Absolutely. Give her a round of applause. Who else? Who wants to share their passion with us today? Yeah.
My passion would be art. I like to share my view of the world through my perspective, and the only way I could really show people is how I visualize it in my mind. So I like to make a change that way.
That's so great, so great. How many people went through the gallery today? Well, you probably saw the art of this fantastic individual, Hannah Baez, everyone. Great stuff. Thank you for sharing that. Who else has a passion? Keep thinking. We'll do one more.
About the beach. We need to protect it, love it, have fun with it, clean it, feel passionate about it.
Yeah, clap for her. Okay, we'll do one more.
I'm passionate about people and making sure that everyone has access to all the things they need for a healthy life.
Awesome. Please clap. Please clap for her. Absolutely. So many of you probably walked in and you noticed an alarmingly large board as you walked in today. Candy Chang came up with the idea of the Before I Die boards. And these murals are painted everywhere around the world. And essentially it's, before I die, I want to do this. And so we decided to take that idea and say, to save the world, I will ... Please fill in the blank. Now, this was a really exciting opportunity because we got to see people talking about their passions. So this is a shot of the boards. Yet another. Yet another. And when we really get in close, there's some really great stuff. Some heartfelt emotion went into this. But something happened on Monday night. It rained really, really hard. I was disappointed when I came in on Tuesday because I walked past the boards and I said to myself, oh no, all the perspectives, all the heart, all the emotion that people put on that board washed away. And then I had a student come into my class. And I was sharing this with the class. I was disappointed And she said, but Tony, you have to remember that it's a cleansing process for us, and it also allows for us to share new perspectives. We're reinventing ourselves every time it rains. What do you think happened this morning? There was a tremendous amount of dew. It completely erased the boards. And every single one of you hopefully got to put something on those boards. This is the foundation for what we're talking about here at One World. One to change a few to change many, many to change the world. But remember, it all starts with one. So that's kind of our philosophy in the Challenge 2050 project. We put students in situations where they're going to cultivate their capacities to improve this world and make it a better place. Our charge is pretty simple. Build human capacity to address the complex adaptive challenges that our world will face because we have a global population that's projected to exceed 9.6 billion by the year 2050. That brings a lot of issues to our world. However, with our students, we have a fighting chance. The University of Florida is the only place in the entire country that believes that undergraduate students have the perspectives that could possibly contribute to our understanding of how we can save this world. And we want to hear it. We believe, much like Antigone said, that if I am young and I am wrong, then so be it. But if I am young and I am right, then what does my age matter? And so we want to listen to these students. We want to hear what they're saying, because they provide the foundation of where we're going to go in the future. So when we have this charge, we say there's 6 issues that stem from our growing global population that we need to focus on most intensely. And that's space. Where the heck are we all going to live? We have cities expanding at an alarming rate due to urban sprawl. We have people leaving our rural areas, creating rural flight. And that really creates some problems. For one, our diminishing farmland, and 2, our diminishing agricultural production workforce. That brings us into our second issue, agricultural production. To meet the needs of 9.6 billion people, from where we are today at 7.4 billion, we will need to double our food supply. That creates tremendous strain on our energy production. To meet the needs of 9.6 billion, we'll need to triple our energy production. When we do this, we have tremendous drain on our natural resources. We don't have to go all the way to Florida, or we don't have to go all the way to California to understand that there are tremendous strains on our water and other natural resources that we have. Water is one of our most finite, most important resources, and we need to be better stewards of it. When we have an issue with our natural resources, we impact our planet, and climate change occurs. And so storms that we used to see as commonplace are now bigger, stronger, more intense. Sea level rise occurs, on and on and on. Climate change becomes an issue. When we take these 5 issues and put them all together, there's some serious health concerns for the population on our planet. So we need to address that too. To understand this, we get our students to look at it from the 5 systems. And when they understand the 5 systems, they begin to think differently about the 6 issues so they can create a foundation for saving the 7 continents. Now, I don't do this alone. We have a dynamic group of faculty who teach in our program as affiliate faculty members. We also have some really great researchers. But there's also people with boots on the ground every single day working with our students that really create a foundation for change. That's our team. And I would be completely remiss if I didn't take the time to celebrate them. So if Jen, Maria, Tabs, and Tyler can stand up, that would be absolutely awesome. Thank you guys so much for thanking them. I know we could not do anything that we do without the 4 of these folks. They are truly awesome. So the greatest challenge of our day is to bring about a revolution of the heart. A revolution which has to start with every single one of us. Dorothy Day said that. Social rights activist. Absolutely wonderful person. But it sets the foundation for what we're going to do. 760 days ago, I stood on this stage and I gave a TEDx talk. It was great because we talked about what could potentially transform a classroom or a learning experience into a challenge and an opportunity to save the world. I was pitching Challenge 2050 and some really cool innovative methodologies for education. But I never expected that we would have all of you here today. I never expected that we would be creating the impact that we have. It's amazing because we took one group of people and now we're forming one community, and that's going to create the solutions to save one world. And I can't thank you guys enough for that. Please give yourselves a round of applause. Now, I like Dean Turner a lot. She gives me a lot of great information, a lot of great wisdom. But she also challenges me to think more intentionally about the things that we do. Because she says if we don't link intent to impact, we're probably doing our disservice to our students. I 100% agree with her. And so here's the thing. We've expanded a lot of programs and we're doing a lot of really fun stuff. But I could sit up here and I could tell you about some of the things that we're doing, or I could bring someone who knows it a whole lot better than I do. So I'm going to bring up one of our students, Tabitha Baca, to talk about what we're doing here.
So I'm really excited to be here today because I get to talk about something that I'm really passionate about. And let's backtrack a little bit to a year ago. I flew home from Nicaragua, and I tend to hear that a lot of people don't know where that is. So I wanted to give you all a little bit of a geography lesson. It's between Honduras and Costa Rica, and it's outlined in red. It's a beautiful country, and I lived in a little town on the top left corner of Nicaragua, on the border of Honduras. And I flew home, came to UF, and I was really excited to share what I had experienced in my year there. I wanted to tell everybody, and I wanted to share it with the world because it was something really incredible, and it changed my life. So I was introduced to Tony through one of my instructors, and he wanted to know why Challenge 2050 should choose Global Brigades to partner with them. And even though I couldn't think of a reason of why not, I had to reflect a little bit. And I realized that my experiences in Central America and Western Africa with Global Brigades made me who I am today. It was really incredible. So I reflected back a little bit, and if we backtrack to my freshman year of college, which was a little bit of a while ago, I spent my birthday in Honduras, in a very small town who had no access to infrastructure, healthcare, microfinance, anything that was needed to make a strong community. And I met some incredible people who shared the same passion that I had. But most importantly, I met the man on the left, right here with the crutches. I wish I would have gotten a better picture, but he changed my life. He walked over 4 hours starting at 2 o'clock in the morning with crutches and an infected knee because he wanted a checkup. He wanted for a doctor to see him. And I know a lot of us avoid going to our yearly checkup. So it was a little bit eye-opening for me because I realized how lucky I was to have grown up somewhere where if I have a cough or if I need medication, I could just go to the grocery store. So it was a little bit life-changing, and I knew that I wanted to be a bigger part of this. A year after, I went to Ghana, and I wanted to be more immersive. So I spent a month there working with local healthcare systems, local microfinance initiatives, learning more about the culture and what exactly Global Brigades was. And I met, again, more incredible people, but I had a really touching experience, and I remember calling my mom crying because it was really heartbreaking. We were getting out of the community, and it was on the side of the road, and there was this little girl who was no more than 30 pounds. She was left on the side of the road. She was an orphan. She didn't have any family. She was extremely malnourished. She had open wounds everywhere, and she was drowned in flies. And if you saw that here, you would immediately call 911. You would find out where this little girl came from. But people were so desensitized to this. It was really heartbreaking. And so it changed my mind about what my priorities were. And I knew that I needed to make a greater impact than I already had. So I wanted to join the team, and I joined the Global Brigades team. I became an international consultant, and I spent a month training in Panama, in the Darien area, working with indigenous communities that are marginalized by their own government, which means zero to no infrastructure, no access to healthcare. Again, these recurring themes that you see all over the world when it comes to poverty and lack of resources. And it was really frustrating. But lucky enough, I joined the team, and I want to take this time to introduce someone. Pablo, if you could please stand up. He came all the way from Panama. He is a program officer, and he's the one that makes everything happen. All the logistics, all the communities, all the transportation, everything on the ground. And he came all the way from Panama to be with us today. So if you get a chance, please go talk to him if you have any questions about Global Brigades. And so I worked for Global Brigades for a year, and I learned all the ins and outs about international development, the good and the bad, and my passion only grew. And if we fast forward to today, the reason why Challenge 2050 and Global Brigades work so well is because Global Brigades lives out the mission of the Challenge 2050 program. We have mobilized over 10,000 volunteers and over 40,000 community members we have impacted. That's a lot of people, but we want to keep that number growing. We want to impact more people. We want to impact more students, change perspectives of those people that need, a little bit of passion. And that's why I'm here today, because I want to tell you that the partnership between Global Brigades, with the partnership between Global Brigades and Challenge 2050, we can make a real, sustainable, and positive impact in this world. Thank you.
So I talked a little bit about it before, but our partnership with Global Brigades creates an opportunity. It opens a door. But the real question becomes, what do we do when we get on the other side of that door? Opportunities happen all the time. But what really happens to change our world is when we create some action. We have some agency for when we get on the opposite side of the door. Tabs had an idea. She came to us and said, Global Brigades will create the foundation for how we can serve students and help them to serve our global community. So we put this into practice. It's here. We're in Ghana this year. We'll be in Honduras. We'll be in Nicaragua. We'll be in Panama, and on and on and on. And the progression continues. Because we want to put students in communities so they can not only see it, but they can feel it, and they can bring it back here and take it other places. This is the foundation of our study abroad programs, and we're so excited. One of the other cool things that we do is we take our industry professionals every time we go abroad. And the reason why is because if this isn't a partnership, it's not going to be sustainable. And so it's really important for us to have our industry partners. So HM Close, they're at every single one of our international trips. And the reason why is they believe in the foundation for our students. It's awesome. So, we're back to One World, and now is what you've really been waiting for. The Solution 6 were 6 dynamic students that were selected from over 70 applications. Students were asked to submit an up to 5-minute YouTube video that conveyed not only their passion, but their innovation and how they would implement that for the world. That's a lot to do in 5 minutes. And so the team sat down and we went video by video by video, trying to understand what could create the potential for change in our world. And there were a lot of innovations. Frankly, if we could, we'd have 70 presentations up here today, but we only have room for 6, the Solution 6.